The beet. Most of us see it this way in the store. It has the leaves attached and it has the root down here, and it does grow below the ground right there. And this grows underground and this grows above ground. Now, most of us have probably had beets at one time or another, but maybe most of the time it's come from the shelf from the grocery store. And right down here I have the 3 basic ways that people buy them. This is the sliced version, and it doesn't have any pickling in it. It's just plain beets. It tastes a lot like what you would accomplish at home. So I approve of these. I love these. These are the shoestring beets, which makes it the same as the other sliced ones, but they are shoestring cut, so it's a different way of looking at it. Really nice for salads or for a side dish. And then here is the pickled beets. This is a very popular condiment, and it is so good. When you get beets in the cans, the root of the beet, they're almost exactly what would happen if you did it at home. But what we're going to focus on today is the fresh beet. And when you go to the store, you usually buy them in a bunch. They're called a bunch. There's usually 3 to 5 depending on their size. You want to look to be sure that the leaves are attached, that the leaves are not all soggy or they're all wrinkled up, because that means they've been there a while. You want to be sure that the root part is smooth. You see how smooth that is. They still have their root on, and they don't have a lot of dings in them where they've been banged around a lot. This is a very nice bunch of beets. Now, there are some beets that are a little lighter in color, but most of the beets we see in the stores are the dark red. And you want to be sure that it's that way all the way around the beet. You know, that there's not one side that's white or really dark and the other side isn't. So you bring them home, and the first thing you have to do, even to store them, is to separate the leaves from the beet root. I'm going to call the beet the root today so that you'll understand what I'm talking about. And you have to, oh, and I can't get this one off. You have to take them apart. Because what they say happens is that as the leaves are on the beet, then they'll take the moisture out of the beet. And they also need to be stored in a different way. So the first thing you want to do is you want to cut off the beet, leaving about 1 inch of the stem. Because you don't want it to bleed out, as they call it, in the beets. So you just take those off. And then you're going to put the beets in the refrigerator. They'll keep there about 3 weeks in the vegetable drawer. But the leaves won't keep that long. Whether you put them on or not, they're going to come off. They need to come off. So there's our roots. And here are our leaves. And they are really a big leaf. Now, as you know, the 2 parts, let me find one that's got a whole leaf here. This one has a whole leaf and it's got the stem. The stem is usually red. And we want to take the stem off. So what I do is I just pinch it off. Because when you're cooking this, it will need longer cooking than the leaves need. Okay? But when you're storing them, first off, just put them together, put them in a plastic wrap, and put them in the refrigerator. I try to use them the next day after I buy them, because I bought these yesterday afternoon. This is about midday the next day, and you'll notice that the leaves are getting a little dry. And that's just the way leaves are. So we want to be sure that we take care of this fast. So first thing you want to do is you got to wash them, of course. So I pinch off the leaves from the stem, and I make 2 piles, leaves and stem. And then I wash each one separately, because the leaves need more washing than the stems usually. And it's real easy to break. If you get one that's not real easy to break, you may not want to put it in your pot. If you get one that's kind of big, the stem, you want to start at the bottom, kind of breaking it. This one breaks really easily, but you'll see how the bigger they are, the more stringy they become. So you may want not to use that one if it gets stringy. So we only got a few minutes today, and this takes a little while, but I would wash the beets and put the stems in one pile. I wash the leaves. Now I want to show you what we do. Here is the leaves being washed right here. And I have washed them. This is the 2nd time they've been in the water. And I've gone through the first time. And you know, the food and the produce in the grocery stores these days are not as dirty as they used to be, which wasn't that long ago. Okay, now when you're doing the stems and the leaves separately, you put them in hot water in a pot, in the skillet, a wide one, because the leaves are wide. And first you put in your stems. Now they need to cook a little bit longer because they're tougher. And you want to be sure they get in the liquid. Now the liquid, I make it so it kind of covers the stems, however many I'm cooking. It could be a stock, it wouldn't have to be just plain water. And then you cook these on a kind of a high heat for, well, no, about 3 or 4 minutes. And we're gonna pretend like I've done that. And you'll put this in here, and then you take the leaves and you just lay them in. And they will get limp from being in the water. And you do this about 3 or 4 more minutes. And when you can do that, you can put the lid on, but don't put it on all the way, so you can have some of the steam come out and make it cook. And we'll hopefully come back to that before the end of the show. But I wanted to let you see that you've got to separate them once you start to cook them. Now these have actually become crisper since I've had them in the water. So this is your beet. The beet green is actually more nutritious than the root. Well, now that we've taken care of the stems and the leaves, we're going to take care of the roots. As we did when we brought them home, we cut it off, left about 1 inch. We've kept them in the refrigerator. There's 2 basic ways of cooking the root. The first one is to take, I've washed these, take a piece of foil and wrap them in the foil, and I always tuck the little root up there, just like they are, and you do not wash beets until you're ready to use them. And then you can stick these into a baking pan, just like this, roasted at 400 degrees, about 40 minutes. I have a pan right here that I've just taken out of the oven. And these are what they look like when you get done. You open them up. And the skin, remember, is still on. We didn't take the skin off. But look at that. Isn't that beautiful? It is just the most beautiful piece of beet you can imagine. Okay, and if you'll notice, the stem will just break off. It's so hot I can't touch it, but the stem will break off after it's cooled for a second. And you have a choice of taking paper towel and rubbing off the skin, or putting it under the water and washing it off. Now the other way, that is the most popular way, is probably just boiling them. And I have some boiling right here. I've put 2 on. They've been boiling over 20 minutes. And what I want to do now is I want to put them into cold water. And then you can easily peel the beet. And you'll have to wait until you can almost, and if you take them under running water, then you can just peel it off. Go to my website. I have much more information about beets. Beets are so useful, they are so delicious.